Hello, and greetings, lovely person. This is RPGmodsFan, and in this video, I will be reviewing the second adventure in the Candlekeep Mysteries Anthology book, which was published by Wizards of the Coast in January of 2021. This 5th edition D&D adventure is titled Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions. It was written by Alison Huang. My sincere apologies, I probably mispronounced her name. The adventure is meant for second-level player characters. The adventure starts with the player characters doing research in Candlekeep. Perhaps they are doing research on magic, on lycanthropy, on demons, or on something related to those topics. During their research, they come across a book titled Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions, whose contents are full of essays and ramblings, but are relevant to the topics the characters are researching.
Hello, my name is Allround. I am the former keeper of tomes. Some time ago, the task of governing Candlekeep has been turned over to the Archmage Janussi. Anyway, my assistant, RPGmodsFan, will now be discussing the adventure itself, and this video will contain spoilers. Unless you are a dungeon master who will be running this adventure for their players, or are a player who already played through this adventure and are watching this video for nostalgia purposes, I would suggest not to watch the rest of this video.
Like most of the adventures in Candlekeep Mysteries, Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions did not include an adventure overview or summary. Candlekeep Mysteries would have benefited having an adventure overview for each of its adventures. Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions is more of a role-playing adventure. The adventure can be more combat-oriented if the player characters are the type to stab first and ask questions later. However, if they take this approach, a TPK is almost assured. In Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions, the adventurers are attacked by an animated book. This is the third book that has transformed into a monster in Candlekeep, and the adventurers must find out from where and who the monstrous books are coming from. The start of the adventure has the player characters doing research in Candlekeep. During their research, they come across the Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions book. However, that book was actually an ectoplasmic monster from the ethereal plane known as a Jing Watsum, and it attacks the party. From the Avowed, who are the librarians of Candlekeep, they learn two other books were actually Jing Watsums as well. Two of the three scholars who brought the books are still in Candlekeep. After interviewing them, the player characters learn that the books originated from a market stall in Baldur's Gate. The player characters then travel to Baldur's Gate to get more answers. During their travel, they are attacked by a were-rat and 3 giant rats. The book stall is run by Corvalla and her pack of jackalwares. Corvalla is able to cast a ritual spell that creates a Jing Watsum in the material plane. She has the Jing Watsum take the form of an expensive book in order to sell at her pack's Amberdune book stall. They are trying to raise enough money to resurrect their deceased Lamia leader named Nidalia. It is up to the player characters to uncover the mystery either through peaceful means or through bloody means. Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions is an event-based adventure. The first event is having the player characters doing research at Candlekeep. They can be doing research on magic and the weave, or they may be doing research on lycanthropy, or they may be doing research on demon lords and or the abyss, which is why the Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions book was brought to them by the Avowed. It contains essays and ramblings on all these topics. However, the book is really a very hungry Ching Watson. Ching Watson makes its monster debut to 5th edition D&D in this adventure. As mentioned before, Ching Watson is an ectoplasmic monster from the ethereal plane. Ching Watson can assume 2 other forms that are determined by its creator, one being a small non-magical item, the other being a small beast. This Ching Watson has not eaten for quite some time, breaks out of its book form, and attacks the party. After defeating the Ching Watson, the player characters will probably speak to the Avowed on what's just occurred. The Avowed, i.e. Candlekeep's librarians, will inform the characters that A. This is the 3rd book to transform into such a creature. B. Each book was donated by a scholar to gain entry into Candlekeep within the past 2 months. C. 2 of the scholars are still in Candlekeep. And D. The Avowed offer a helm of comprehending languages as a reward for finding out who is responsible for these monstrous fakes. The player characters then go to meet and interview these scholars. From these scholars, they learn that both of them bought their books from a market stall in Baldur's Gate, a city that is 5 days' journey south of Candlekeep. The stall is located in the area known as the Wide, which is Baldur's Gate's marketplace. On their journey to Baldur's Gate, the adventurers are attacked by 3 giant rats and their leader, Mushika, who is a were-rat. Mushika will flee if the battle is not going too well. The monstrous books originated from the Amberdune bookstall. Finding the Amberdune bookstall is supposed to play out as a role-playing event. The bookstall is run by Corvala and her pack of jackalwares, who, of course, will be in their human forms. Corvala and none of her 6 jackalwares are willing to discuss the matter of the monstrous books at their stall or in Baldur's Gate proper. They will threaten to call the city guards if they themselves are threatened by the characters. However, Corvala is willing to talk at her place. Yet, how the characters learn of her lair depends on how discussions went at the bookstall. The characters may have to resort to trying to stealthily tail the jackalwares if discussions did not go cordially. The Aberdeen hideout is located in the Black Gate neighborhood. The Black Gate district lies outside of the city and is full of ramshackle huts. If Mushika survived, and if the characters are not being accompanied by any of the jackalwares, then he, a swarm of rats, and 2 human thugs will attack the characters when they are traversing the Black Gate neighborhood. Alright, back to the timeline of events. The former leader of the Aberdeen pack was a Limea named Nidalia. Corvala is trying to raise enough money to get her resurrected. Thus, she resorted to creating Ching Watsons to take the form of expensive books. However, she never thought any of her books would end up in Candlekeep. As reparations, Corvala is willing to part with the original copies of the 3 books, but will ask for payment for them. Hence, the situation can be resolved either peacefully or through a bloodbath. Displayed on the screen is the map of the Amberdune hideout. Here is a good color map of the hideout that I found on the internet. The map is probably easier to decipher with the rooms labeled as it is now. In the middle of the common room is a rug of smothering. It will attack any intruders unless commanded not to do so by any of the Jackalwares. Corvala will converse with the player characters in her quarters, which also serves as her office. Her bed conceals the trap door that leads down to the basement vault. On the wall are two swords that are actually two Jingwatsums. One of the trunks in the storage room is actually a mimic. The original 3 books and 3 others can be found in a padlocked trunk in the basement vault. In the other trunk are the remains of Nidalia. The trunks are lined with lead so that a locate object spell cannot be used to find their contents. For second-level characters, the combat with the Jackalwares will be extremely difficult. Hence, this adventure was meant more as a role-playing adventure instead of a combat-heavy adventure. Thus, if the characters took the diplomatic route, then further tie-in adventures are possible, such as helping the Jackalwares raise the funds they need. And that concludes my walkthrough of the Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions adventure. I think it is a pretty good adventure. Thank you for watching. Hope this video has been informative and entertaining. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. I do like feedback. Till next time, this is RPGmodsFan saying cheers, have a good day, and goodbye.
just leave.